right. That's why I love doing these things with Malia Cohen, State Board of Equalization here. Happy early Women's Equality Day. My name is Carmen Chu. I serve as San Francisco City Administrator. Every year, we have brought this event together to make sure we remember the importance of voting, and in particular, the importance of Women's Equality Day. For folks who may not know, tomorrow, August 26th, is Women's Equality Day. It was passed in 1973 in the United States Congress, which designated the 26th as Women's Equality Day to commemorate the adoption of the 19th Amendment in 1920, which marked the beginning of women's voting rights. We fought hard for those rights, and people may say, well, why do you come out here to talk about a right that you've already won? What's the point of it? And the point of it is that even though there is a right to vote, we know that there are many reasons why people sometimes don't go out to vote. Barriers that may exist, or perhaps people may feel disillusioned by the political system, or frankly, I know now, having a child of 3, life gets in the way and it gets hard to manage and to figure out how to get to the polls. But not voting isn't the solution. And so today we come together to really remind folks of the importance of voting. There's so much that is at stake now in this country with voting. We've seen some of the consequences of what happens at the Supreme Court, whether it has to do with reproductive rights or gun rights and other issues that impact our day-to-day lives. And so today we've come out here to really recognize the importance of voting, but to remember that voting isn't something that you're just given and you can pretend it doesn't exist and forget about it. It's important to get out there and actually do go out there and vote. So I want to thank the amazing group of people who have assembled today to really shed light on the importance of what that looks like. I think, as I mentioned, there's a lot that is at stake at the state level in terms of propositions that are on the ballot, locally what's on the ballot, the people that we're electing to represent us. So let's not forget that. So I would like to recognize a few folks to come up to speak, but before I do that, I also want to recognize a few people who've joined us here, who've taken their time out. This is actually the board recess, but people are here from board recess and others just to make sure that they're out here to spread the important news. So let me just go down the line, and please give a round of applause for the folks that you hear here, because they are the folks who are helping to lead this city, but also to help fight the good fight. Supervisor Matt Dorsey from District 6. Supervisor Raphael Mendelman, District 8. Supervisor Catherine Stephanie, who you'll hear from in just a little bit. Supervisor Connie Chan, who you'll hear from as well. Come on, let's get excited. Our school board member, Lainey Motamedi, is here. City Attorney David Chu. Public Defender Mano is here. There he is. Sheriff Paul Miyamoto. City College Trustee Thea Shelby. And then we'll be talking about some of the other department heads who are here too. Oh, our DA is here. Where is our DA? There we go, Brick Jenkins. Thank you for being here today. And so with that, let me turn it over to Allison Go, who is the president of the League of Women Voters. She's been someone who's been our partner in the W Challenge for many, many years. She's going to tell you a little bit more about the day of action. Part of W Challenge isn't just about bringing people here to remember our right to vote and to motivate people to vote, but it's also about taking concrete actions to get people to the polls. And so I want to talk about the Sunday 28th, August 28th day of action to make sure we're going door to door to register voters. And again, Allison's going to speak more about that. So let's give a hearty, big Equality Day welcome to Allison Go.
Hi, my name is Allison Go. I'm the president of the League of Women Voters of San Francisco. We're a nonpartisan political nonprofit. We do not endorse candidates, but we do take positions on issues. And actually, the League in San Francisco, we're actually older than 102 years. We predate League of Women Voters National because San Francisco has always led the way. So this summer, I had the opportunity to attend the League National Convention in Denver, and it happened to be the same weekend that Roe was struck down. It was really hard at first, but it was kind of exactly where I needed to be at the time. And we attended a rally that evening at the Denver Capitol. We were all gathered outside with our signs and with all of our feelings, and there was a young organizer on the back of a pickup truck, and they were saying about how they were going to lead the charge and continue the fight that their mothers and grandmothers and families had fought before. And this League member right behind me, she stood up and she said, "We're still here." And I keep thinking about that fellow League member who is still fighting and still thinking about how to stand up for women's equality and women's rights. And you know, we're still here. Our League, we're making sure that our ballots are easy to understand in an unbiased manner through our voter guides, our candidate forums coming up for this packed fall election. We're still here. We're standing up for underrepresented and historically marginalized groups at government meetings and during the recent redistricting process. You know? And we're still here registering women to vote. Did you know that in San Francisco, about 55,000 eligible women are not yet registered to vote? So League of Women Voters volunteers have been hitting the pavement, and we've knocked on over 700 doors this spring, but we need your help. This is the kind of canvassing that is the happiest, friendliest kind of stuff that you have when you're opening your door. Are some of the stories that our volunteers have heard from the doors. They knocked on a door and registered a young woman who had just turned 18, and she was so excited to register, she took a dozen of our registration QR codes to give to her friends to stick on their laptops. And that's just the kind of effect that you can have if you join us. You know, our volunteers also registered a lifelong San Francisco woman who had just never gotten around to it. But she found the QR code and the volunteer that was able to assist her in those couple of minutes so helpful. We registered that woman to vote. And we need you to reach more of these potential voters. On Sunday at 3 o'clock, we will kick off here to knock on doors and register our fellow San Franciscans. There's no experience necessary. We will provide all the training, all the materials you need. Just wear some comfy shoes, bring some water, of course, and get ready to talk to our neighbors here. You can sign up on wchallenge.org. So if you have any questions, come find me afterwards, or one of my volunteers, Anne, is here as well. And so the next, I would like to introduce the next speaker. I do consider an honor to introduce the San Francisco native, one of California's constitutional officers, a rising star, a fellow working mom, the Honorable Malia Cohen, the chair of the California State Board of Equalization. She's the first African-American woman to serve on the Board of Equalization as chair of the board in the 143-year history. And as the chair of the board, she is responsible for administering California's complex $85 billion property tax system, which funds our local schools, local government, and first responders. She is also a member of the powerful Franchise Tax Board. So please join me in welcoming one of our very own who started the political career right here in City Hall, a fierce advocate for women and a California change maker, Malia Cohen.
Thank you. That was amazing. Oh my gosh. That was a great introduction. And I don't know if you picked up the music, but Sheriff Miyamoto's phone went off and it was like having a theme song. And I firmly believe I mentor a lot of women, and I tell them all the time they need to walk up and they need a theme song. It really gets you in the mood and it really sets the tone. It really gets this fighting spirit that we have here going. So I also want to recognize one of our distinguished elected members of the family, Joaquin Torres, who is our duly elected city assessor. Assessing property values, making sure that the city and county of San Francisco has revenue coming in so the Board of Supervisors and the mayor can spend it and let it go out. Very important. I also really need to take a moment and pause. We have to recognize Carmen Chu. It is her leadership that has consistently brought us here together to celebrate and to uplift Women's Equality Day. If she did not have the foresight, I don't know if we would be gathering here. But this is an incredibly important moment. And Carmen, I want you to know how much we appreciate you for bringing us together, bringing an allyship of women and men together in front of City Hall. And so hello to my dear strong sisters. Hello. And to the fellas that love us, thank you very much for being with us in this struggle. We would be nowhere without our allies. And when we talk about struggle, we're talking about struggle for our lives. We're talking about the struggle for our children's lives and for the future of the young women and girls that have yet to be born yet. That is why we stand here today. And I'm going to tell you, I believe in myself. Do you believe in yourselves? I think we believe in our collective ourselves, and I believe in our collective strength. But we got to be honest, and we have to be real. We've got some real challenges ahead of us. We got rights that are being repealed, that are being taken away from us. We are under attack. Since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, it has created an unprecedented challenge. Never before has there been a Supreme Court decision that has actually taken away fundamental rights. The reactionary forces that organize to take away our right to choose are now focused on taking other rights like the right to marry, other rights like the right to contraception, our families and our family rights to health care. All of this collectively is under attack. So what are we going to do? We're going to stand up and we're going to fight back. We're going to stand up and we are going to fight back because we can, because we are organized, because we're diligent, and we are disciplined. We must make sure that all of our sisters vote this November. November 8th is the magic day, but remember, ballots get mailed out the first week in October 10th. And so we must make sure that every sister has the right to vote. And remember, there are initiatives that are on the ballot that are going to impact us. Please study that ballot. Please understand it and vote your conscience. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for your support, Carmen. I appreciate you bringing us together and bringing out everybody that makes San Francisco a wonderful place to live. We are an inclusive place. Thank you.
All right. So I want to recognize a few more folks that are here. We've got a lot of folks who are here who have been part of our conversation. I want to make sure that we recognize our department heads, Kate Sophis, Karen Roy, our controller, Anna Moses. Thank you so much, all of our department heads, for being here. And so I want to turn it over to one of our major partners, who is our Department on the Status of Women's leader, Kimberly Ellis. Please give a big round of applause to Kimberly Ellis. Woo!
What's up, San Francisco? I also want to thank Carmen for her leadership in bringing us all together here. Thank you, Carmen, for the work you continue to do on behalf of women, on behalf of families, and on behalf of San Franciscans everywhere. Thank you. You know, I'd love to invite our friends who have joined us into this conversation, because the truth of the matter is we believe in children. We believe in healthy children. We believe in a country that provides for the whole health of children in this country. And so if you want to talk about ways that we can work together to ensuring that's possible, then join us. Otherwise, have many seats and be quiet. I'd also like to put a finer point on the woman that we just heard from. Malia Cohen is running to be the state controller of the 5th largest economy in the world, the chief financial officer of California. She will be on the ballot this November. We're very proud of a daughter of San Francisco who is running this year. You know, they say struggle is a never-ending process, and freedom is never really won. You earn it and you win it in every generation. Those were the words of the incomparable Coretta Scott King. And as we stand here today on the eve of Women's Equality Day and the anniversary of the 19th Amendment, let us remember that our calling at this time and this moment is to win and secure freedom for ourselves and for others, and then pass them along to generations to come. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kimberly Ellis. I am the director for the San Francisco Department on the Status of Women. Our mission is to promote the equitable treatment and advancement of women, girls, and non-binary in San Francisco, and to build a diverse and efficient city government through gender-responsive, racially equitable policies, programs, and legislation. Our work is focused in 3 core service areas to catalyze transformative change in the lives of women, girls, and gender non-binary people. Those areas are health and safety, economic security, and civic engagement and political empowerment. To say that this year has been devastating for women is an understatement. This summer has been tinged with increased pain, fear, and anger in the face of unjust and unrelenting attacks on our fundamental right to bodily autonomy. Every week, it seems like a new state passes a law restricting our right to choose. The latest research shows that approximately 22 million people of reproductive age now live in states with highly restrictive abortion laws. Just last week, a judge in North Carolina reinstated a 20-week abortion ban, while Idaho's Supreme Court allowed a 6-week ban to take effect. And they won't stop there. Experts estimate that up to 26 states will most likely implement a ban or severely restrict access to abortion in the coming weeks and months. So despite, or perhaps because of, the ongoing threats to our health, wealth, physical safety, and well-being, women must show up and show out, not just for ourselves, but for our families, our communities, and generations to come. The past several elections have reminded us of who women are. We are the margin of victory. There are 75 days until Election Day, and make no mistake about it, democracy is on the ballot. Our lives, our livelihoods, and the futures of our children and everyone we love is on the line. It is time for women everywhere to flex our electoral muscle and let freedom and our political power ring. We're in this fight together, and for the long haul, we cannot and we will not sit this election out. In honor of our foremothers and our sisters in the struggle, thank you to Administrator Carmen for your leadership, and I join my fellow colleagues, women leaders, and our allies to urge you to vote in this year's election. The midterms are coming, and so are your mail-in ballots. I look forward to seeing all of you at the polls or at the post office on November 8th. Thank you, and happy Women's Equality Day.
All right, ladies and men, are we going to stop? Are we ever going to be quiet? Are we going to fight? Is democracy on the line? All right. I've got Supervisor Catherine Stephanie and Supervisor Chan. Please come on up.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think we know now why it is so important to turn out to the polls and vote.
That's right.
Because this is ridiculous. I want to thank City again organizing this event. And I know we are gathered here today to remind people to vote, to register people to vote, and turn them out. But I want to talk about one more thing, and it has everything to do with what's going on right now. We need women not only voting at the ballot, but we need women voting at school boards, city councils, board of supervisors offices, state legislatures across this country, and in Congress. We've made a lot of strides here in San Francisco with Kamala Harris being our first female vice president, our very own. We also have Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who protects our rights in Congress and is breaking those marble ceilings for women everywhere. But I want to tell you right now, one of the reasons why we're seeing this is because there are not enough women in office making the rules across this country. When you have only 24 women in the U.S. Senate, 122 women out of 535 in the House of Representatives, when we only have 9 women governors, when we only have 31% of women representing in state legislatures across this country and 30% in municipal offices, you know something is wrong. So men continue to outnumber women in large percentages, and I want to tell you why that's a problem. And I do want to thank our male allies, because we are lucky here in San Francisco to have some amazing men along our sides as our allies. But I want to tell you something. My 13-year-old daughter has less rights than I did when I was her age, because Roe v. Wade has been overturned, and they are not stopping there. They want to criminalize women for having an abortion, prosecute us under the law, and even give us a death penalty. And I am telling you right now, that is never going to happen. That's right. When a 10-year-old in this country is raped and has to travel to another country to get an abortion, something is wrong with you. When we know 10-year-olds in elementary schools are subject to frequent lockdowns because they are afraid of school shootings, and we have tragedies like Uvalde and Sandy Hook because we can legally purchase weapons of war and ammunition and go into a classroom and eviscerate students and 10-year-olds? Where are you on that? Are you pro-life for kids that are dying in their classrooms? I don't think so. Meanwhile, we face teacher shortages across the country because we refuse to pay them what they're worth. The income gap between rich and poor is growing at a rapid pace, leaving way too many in the throes of poverty and without homes or proper medical care for mental health issues, addiction, and all other health issues. Yet stock portfolios of the top 1% are now $23 trillion, and they own a record 53.9% of individually held shares. So I ask you again, how is this male-dominated leadership working for us? More women need to be at the table. More mothers need to be at the table. More decisions need to be made by women. Because as we say, when you are not at the table, you are on the menu. And not only are we on the menu, but our children are on the menu too. I recently had an experience that left me baffled. It came to my attention that a man told someone that he didn't think I was strong, or I didn't act strong on the board. I literally thought I was hallucinating when this was told to me, given I am often standing alone on issues, and I'm certainly not afraid to say why. That I declared the NRA a domestic terrorist organization and have been fighting the gun lobby for the past 20 years. Do not tell me I am not strong and the women up here are not strong. I am not the only one this happens to. And I started to realize why this person thought that is because I don't act like a man at the board of supervisors. I don't fit the gender norms. I'm not interrupting people at the board. I don't need to act tough and speak on every single issue. I don't try to submerge myself into toxic masculinity to get ahead. This isn't a new thing, often referred to as the authority gap. Women are taken less seriously than men when it comes to leadership because from a young age, gender norms create social roles and expectations on how men and women should behave. So while I am here to ask you to vote, register other women to vote, run for office yourself and encourage other women to run for office. I want you to support them when they are in office. Do not judge women by the same gender norms that have been ingrained in us. If we are going to achieve equality, we need to vote, we need to run for office, and we can no longer let a man's perception of us rule the day. We cannot allow strength to be measured by traditional stereotypical masculine behavior. You want equality? You change the narrative and you empower more women leaders, because we got to put a stop to this nonsense. There is strength in kindness, there is strength in collaboration, in knowing when to make your point and knowing when to just say nothing at all. There is strength in humility and managing it all. And I want to say one last thing. Yes, we know women tend to be underestimated, and I can tell you that all the women here today and all the men that are here with us on this stage, all I can say to you is underestimate us, because that's going to be a lot of fun.
I ask that all of us stand closer together. I ask that if you don't mind, you're welcome to hold hands. I ask that perhaps arm in arm, that we're together. If you're in the audience, you're welcome to join us.